Hey guys,
Hey,
no see.
what's up, everybody? Owen Finch, and I'm here with.
AJ Talent, and we were gonna do El Camino, but because the world is kind of messed up right now, we figured we'd do like a fun review.
Yeah, uh, you could totally tell, like, me and AJ are kind of not going into this, like, this might be one of our bad videos, because we're not really taking this seriously right now, because we're not really reviewing, like, a serious show or anything like that. It's just, I should say it's just SpongeBob, because we do love this show, but it's like, it's kind of like one of those things, where, like, you don't have to kind of go into it, like, theoretically, like breaking it down, like what's going on and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man, we were just talking about the thematic values of Squid Ville, but we'll get into that. Uh,
yeah,
and oh yeah, change of scenery. I'm back at my parents' house.
I'm in New Hampshire. I'm gonna be here probably for a while. I'm not gonna say where. We're not gonna give away our addresses, so that way you don't come over my house blowing my head off or anything like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like,
Listen, the people who saw that one video we did, oh man, they would kill at the chance to kill us.
well, actually, luckily, you know, that's they be going to your house probably like
Oh yeah.
first, because I think you pissed them off more than me. So,
Right.
uh,
Right. Um, what was I gonna say? Your change of view is temporary. You're just visiting your sister. Although I'm done living in that dorm. I'm gonna move into a different dorm next year. So this is gonna be my scenery for the next few videos for the next few months.
yeah, we're gonna try to like. Even if we can't, we should like make this a rule. Like, even if we can't do like El Camino, we should just try to do videos like this, so that way we can keep content coming. I know, yeah, it took this pandemic for me to finally realize that, but it's
I know
like,
now that we have all the time in the world.
um, I'll try to sit down and watch everything and everything like that. But yeah, let's get to the video. So this is the funny story I was gonna tell you. So we've reviewed SpongeBob episodes before. We did, episodes like last year, reviewing like the, you know, Bubble Buddy episode and things like that. So you're gonna find this hilarious. We've ended up not all of them, but some of the episodes we reviewed, I already did myself. I
Oh
just
really? So we just
so
did it for no reason.
so this is not my fault. It's not my fault. Kind of is, but I have a defense. It's not probably the best defense, but I'm still gonna use it just to dig myself out of the grave. So as everybody knows, I've said this before, season 2 doesn't air in order. Um, so I have to, check the episodes to see what the next one is. But because they don't air in order, like some of the episodes I saw, I'm like, okay, I reviewed this one, I reviewed this one. Like some of the episodes I saw, I didn't realize I already reviewed because they don't air in order. So I'm like, okay, they say the air dates, but in Wikipedia, the order's all messed up. And then I tried the TV app, and that's the app I was going based off of. And yeah, that kind of let me down. So it maybe I don't know. I'm probably still on the hole, but maybe SpongeBob maybe should not have done it this way because it really messes things up.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny thing. This reminds me. I watched Pokemon as a kid, and there was an episode that like there was flashing lights and it gave kids seizures, so they took it off the air for a couple months, and then like some episodes came out like out of order when it first came back.
Yep.
So like an episode where like one of Ash's Pokemon evolved came out, and then like the next episode it wasn't evolved. So kids were like, "Wait, what?"
Well, some of the Disney Channel shows and the SpongeBob shows are like that. Like in one of the Disney Channel shows, someone will like have a girlfriend in one episode, but then they get hook up with that girlfriend like in another episode, but it came out of order. So you're kind of like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh man, these damn kid shows and their continuity.
I know,
Uh,
yeah. But the
maybe
thing
we should
is,
man, when we're as adults. No, I'm kidding.
but the thing is, SpongeBob can get away with it because it's a one-off episode pretty much. So
Yeah, it's
none of them
episodic. Really.
so none of them really carry over. But yeah, I think I dug myself out of the grave. They might kick me back in, but you know, it helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about these episodes. So we're reviewing. So I don't know the numbers now at this point since we've reviewed the same episode. So whatever, I'm just gonna from this point going forward, I'm just gonna put in the comments what episodes we reviewed, so that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Since we do 4 in one video, we're reviewing Grandma's Kisses, Squid Ville, No Free Rides, and I'm Your Biggest Fanatic. When I watch these episodes, I feel like one thing we got to point out. I think a lot of people talk about something, how SpongeBob's not what it used to be anymore. It's definitely not the case when I definitely go back and watch it. I think the one thing that kind of really sucks about it now is there's not like those memorable quotes and not these memorable things that really happen anymore. Like literally, sometimes me and my sister's boyfriend will literally quote episodes just because we remember it, and it's so funny. And now it kind of doesn't really like that anymore.
Yeah. Last time we hung out in person, we were at my grandmother's house, and it was me, you, and like a couple other of our cousins were together, and a SpongeBob episode came on, and we like all knew every line by heart.
Yeah, I feel like it's not really. I feel like it's not really like that anymore. So, but yeah, let's talk about Grandma's Kisses, since that's the episode that aired first. Grandma's Kisses and Squid Ville both came out on March 6, 2001. I was either 5 or 6 when this episode came out.
I was not even 1 yet. By the way, if I make faces or flip people off, I'm sorry. In this video, my cousin is sitting in the chair next to me, flipping me off and making faces. So, thanks, Peyton. Love ya.
Really good thing this is the video that we're doing because, if we were doing El Camino, this video would be trash. But anyhow, so yeah, let's talk about the start of this episode. The episode starts off, obviously you can tell with the name of the episode, SpongeBob's gonna go visit his grandma's house. I believe this is her first appearance in the show. She's seen again. I don't think she's seen until like the later seasons. But she is seen again. But this is the first time we see SpongeBob's grandma.
And I do like how she's like a different kind of like sponge. It's just like a funny little detail.
Yep. And SpongeBob talks about like all of the things that he usually does when he goes there. He gets fresh baked cookies, like a storybook. I think the book's probably is like some type of reference of like a kid's story, like that we probably know, because a lot of that happens a lot sometimes, and they make like some type of spoofy reference that we wouldn't get now. I don't remember what the book is because it's been couple of days since I've seen this episode, but it's something like the Sea Elf. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be some type of reference, and he gets like a sweater with love in every stitch. Every stitch, not there's
every
no missing.
stitch, every stitch.
Yeah, I could just imagine.
Things,
Yep. And I mean that's kind of what the opening like few minutes of the episode is. Like you see SpongeBob kind of go through these motions. Anything like stuck out at you like of SpongeBob doing all this type of stuff like.
No, just episodes like these as a kid made me forget SpongeBob was supposed to be an adult technically. Yeah. Like I always thought SpongeBob was like, a kid, and no, he's just like a man-child.
Pretty much. He's that kid he's that guy that like never could grow up. He's about to be late for work, so his grandmother drops him off. We never find out what SpongeBob's grandmother is by name, so that's what we're gonna call her.
We never find out her name. Yeah, you're right.
And his parents, but the thing is, they're not integral part of the show, so it's not like we need to know it. But once I'm saying this, it's just gonna like come and haunt us in our dreams because we don't think it's important to know her name. Like,
look, her character arc is very, it's the most important part of the show, like she survived 800 Bikini Bottom wars, it's very tragic. Anyway.
There was a battle with the Bikini Bottom, clean versus dirty, but she probably survived that. Oh my gosh, like.
Yeah, no, right? She was the commanding general. Anyway, so yeah, SpongeBob visits his grandma. It's very cute, very just, grandma stuff.
SpongeBob though, he forgets his grandma kiss, and he should have just kept forgetting with what happens next. She kisses him, and she puts on like way too much lipstick, I guess, because like he gets her mark all over his forehead, and it's permanent because he tries to wash it later and it doesn't come off, even though he doesn't have it later. But that it's a cartoon, you have to.
Also, they're underwater.
Yeah. I do like that, but everyone's laughing at him. SpongeBob doesn't realize at first that people are laughing at him. And I even love it because Squidward comes up, and typically they have a line, "I hate to burst your bubble, SpongeBob." And instead, because Squidward hates SpongeBob, he says, "I love to burst your bubble, SpongeBob." So I kind of thought that was. They even say they're laughing at you. Everybody does like grandma jokes at him. There's this one guy that is saying him. It's really just one guy, and he keeps over-explaining himself. So eventually, like the rest of the guys in the Krusty Krab are like, "Okay, that's enough." It's that guy that over-explained his joke, and you get sick of it. So SpongeBob tries to wash it off with a mop, but like I said, it's permanent. It can't be washed off. And then everyone's just laughing at him. He's like crouched up in the corner. And SpongeBob even says, "I've been publicly humiliated for the last time," and he just leaves work crying, humiliating himself. I think that was the joke. Like he says, "Oh, I've been publicly humiliated for the last time," and he just humiliates himself even more. What do you think of this scene right here?
I just, I thought it was kind of. I always think it's messed up how everyone in Bikini Bottom's such an asshole. I mean, I love it, but
yeah. And then
reminds me of that episode where with the bully where they just beat up the old man.
Yep.
Although, sorry, on another note, in that episode, I know we haven't reviewed that episode yet, but with the bully, someone in the comments was like, of that clip was like, they thought it was kind of heartwarming that everyone in Bikini Bottom beat up an old man for SpongeBob.
Yeah, right.
But in this episode, everyone's like making fun of him.
I think too, it's like the same people that were making fun of him here, like we're helping him in that other episode too. Like,
hey, it could be different fishes. Don't be racist, Owen.
Then SpongeBob has told Patrick off screen that happened, but we don't see it. Patrick even talks about like how SpongeBob's the most adult person I know, but it's just that grandmas, they love babies, they don't really like to see you grow up. So SpongeBob has to start acting like an adult. This actually kind of like was kind of cool because it's kind of like a thing that happens in life. Like you got to show your parents like you're old enough to act like your age. You don't want to act like a baby because parents and grandparents and stuff don't really want you to grow up. SpongeBob even tells Patrick that he's right, and Patrick's like, "Well, how have I ever not been right?" And then it shows all these like photo flashbacks of like Patrick about to light off a stick of dynamite while SpongeBob's on it, about to like drop like a pumpkin like on him.
Like them being idiots and like doing irresponsible stuff.
Yeah, and it's all Patrick's. It was probably all Patrick's idea. So Patrick's giving SpongeBob ideas of like what to do to like start acting like a grown up, and yeah, this is definitely not. If this is how to act like a grown-up, then I never puff out my chest. I never say it's taxes stand or whatever he has him say.
Yeah.
I don't. And then I mean, I like jazz, but I haven't developed like a taste for it. And yeah,
jazz, right.
I just haven't developed like a taste for it. So Patrick tells SpongeBob that he's ready. If it's just that easy to be a grown-up, then yeah, I guess.
Oh, and then they put on fake sideburns, which I think is really funny.
And I even love SpongeBob even says, "I've been growing these babies for years." I guess so. Your thoughts on all this type of stuff?
It's really funny. Patrick is always a really good part of these early episodes. My cousin looks like she wants to die. I really like the sideburns they wear throughout these episodes, and I always thought as a kid they look like Christmas trees.
I can see that, yeah.
And that reminds me of we're going to talk about this show later on, Avatar. I was like, oh, hey, SpongeBob's Admiral Zhao.
Oh yeah, right. Well, yeah, definitely. And then SpongeBob finally, stands up for himself. His grandma's about to kiss him, but he puts on like a helmet that says like grandma's kisses with that circle, like it's a band pretty much.
I felt kind of bad for his grandma, like he's being super cool to her.
And he basically says like, "I'm an adult now, so I shouldn't be treated like a baby around her. That phase is over." And his grandmother even says, "Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're not going to be treated like a baby here anymore." And Actually, I forgot to mention this. Patrick even like rehearses this, and I even loved it too, because before they even go there, like Patrick says, and then you get behind her and I'll push. It's like, well, Patrick, we didn't say that. I thought that was kind of funny. Like,
yeah, like Patrick was like planning on like murdering her.
yeah. And then his grandma starts to get all upset. She's like, well, what am I gonna do with all these cookies now? Like, these fresh baked cookies, you know. Because she made them like for SpongeBob. You know, she now they have no purpose now. So SpongeBob, I really like how they like shot this too. Like SpongeBob, you know, you just see him, you know, in the frame, and he says, "Yeah, we adults don't partake in sweets." And then when it cuts, we just see like Patrick and his grandma are like gone. We see like Patrick's in the house eating the cookies. So I kind of like how the way they shot that. Like, I thought it was, you know, it's predictable that like that would happen, but I thought the way they like shot it looked really kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I just know how funny Patrick just like immediately turned on SpongeBob was.
Yep. And then pretty much the rest of the episode is kind of like focused, like they kind of really paint that picture how, you know, I feel like that's kind of needed to happen to kind of like give SpongeBob like a reason for his grandmother to treat him like the old way again, for him to kind of see like, you know, that you know, that to kind of learn his lesson that he didn't need to be a baby to get his grandmother's love and all this type of stuff. Because once this starts to happen, because she's kind of seeing how Patrick's like getting nurtured by her and stuff, like she's getting all the cookies, she's getting all the loves. He's trying to kind of explain to Patrick like there are benefits to being a grown up, but he can't really come up with any.
Yeah, Patrick just immediately like turns traitor and is like, "I want to be a baby."
Yeah, which is kind of funny though, because now I feel like too, now that I watched this, we kind of all feel that way. Like we would try to come up with, oh, it's not that bad to be a grown up, to like when we tell a kid that, and we say all these things that we can do, and then we're like, I feel like we're just depressed when we say it. Like we can pay taxes, we have to,
Yeah.
we can go to school, we have to have jobs, we have to pay off our car loans, we have to, yeah, it's just depressing. Like.
Yeah. As a kid, we wanted to be SpongeBob, like trying to be an adult, and now we're want to be Patrick, where we want to be little kids.
Yep. And you're seeing that like SpongeBob's grandma's treating him like an adult. Like when he tries to go for the cookie, he just gets like steamed vegetables, which is they call there. His grandmother reads Patrick that same child's book, and SpongeBob just gets this like big like operating book that has no pictures. Patrick gets like the same sweater and it wrapped in a GIF, and SpongeBob just gets office supplies, which just what SpongeBob even use these office supplies for? Cause like he works.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of you know, and then when it's time for SpongeBob to leave, like she's not like giving him a hug and a kiss. She's just basically like, get the fuck out of here, pretty much. Like kind of like, yeah, we had a visit, get out of here, like go away, like you're done.
Yeah, like, okay, I guess I'll go. And she's like, yeah, okay, bye. All right, closing the door.
That's very awkward. Like Patrick's going down for a nap, and SpongeBob has to like quietly shut the door, and then he starts like, well, before we even get to, what do you think of like how they kind of handled that, like seeing like how his grandmother was treating Patrick now being a kid, and SpongeBob like being an adult now?
I think it's a nice message, you know, because like I feel like a lot of episodes of shows are like, you know, like be mature, grow up. I kind of like how this one was like, no, it's okay to be a kid every now and again.
Yep. And then SpongeBob then comes in freaking out. He starts crying, saying he doesn't want to be a grown up because he wants to pretty much be a baby, so that way.
Yeah, I love this one. Is really like hits home for adults. It's like, I want to wear sweaters and ride the drag, you know, like stuff like, you know, just like he's like crying, saying he wants to do like stuff.
I feel like too now, we used to think. We would think how SpongeBob's such a baby then, but I feel like now we always cry about that now. Like we want to be like a kid now. Like,
Hey, Pink, can you grab me a water? Okay.
Then, you know,
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we were talking about our grandmother Mona, and how you brought up like if one of us started crying like this in front of her, she'd be like, "Grow up."
Yeah, absolutely.
I suck it up. I can do the Irish accent, but she'd be like, "Oh, come on now."
Yeah, that's totally what happened. And then
Thank
I
you.
even love the way it shows him crying. Like it shows, like he has, like as if he's like a sprinkler, like sprinkling tears all over the room. I thought that was kind of cool.
It reminds me how in the SpongeBob movie they were like crying into each other's mouths and like
Yeah.
back.
And then you know, his grandmother has him take it, finally calms him down. And I feel like too, this is like the moral of the story. Not necessarily that you have to grow up, but you don't need to be a baby to have your grandmother and parents' love. You could still be any age, and still get your grandmother's love.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong. Like it's yeah, like you said, like it's not like being it's not childish to let like your parents and grandparents like love you and stuff. And also it's kind of like you don't need to be an adult all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay to like just be a kid every now and again.
I do like though, like he cried so much, like he flooded like the whole like the whole house pretty much, but mainly like the whole living room. Like she had a drain ready to. I feel like too, I could say it doesn't make sense that she would have that ready when, if you know SpongeBob as well and how much he cries, it actually does make
Yeah.
sense. Like,
No, she's known him the longest. She is fully prepared.
um, and then she gives him like the sideburns and the cookie, but then she still says like. SpongeBob still says like even though like that's okay, like let's not mention this to the guys at the Krusty Krab because even though like that's the moral of the story, he doesn't want to get made fun of again, which you could kind of sympathize, but it doesn't matter anyway. It's just watching out the window laughing at him. Like
Yeah,
I guess they like stalked his grandmother so that way he could
I
find.
know. No, everyone goes there for sweaters and cookies. They just don't admit it.
Yeah, right. Um, I thought this episode. I feel like too. I enjoyed it more than I meant to, but I thought it has a great message. It's very funny. I gave it like a B plus, like an
Yeah, I
80.
give it like a B.
Nine.
Definitely one of those episodes where I feel like you appreciate it more as you get older.
Absolutely. Then speaking of episodes that we don't necessarily appreciate, but the Squid Ville episode, I think I ruined that episode now for AJ forever. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Um,
It's definitely I feel like one of the most real episodes. Like I think some people have said this before, but like Squidward is like as kids we felt like SpongeBob, but as adults we feel more like Squidward.
yep. I think though this episode, like we won't talk about why I ruined it for him, but this isn't like the race thing we talk about isn't really what makes the episode though.
Yeah, and the race thing we'll get to that.
So it opens up with SpongeBob and Patrick have gotten these packages, and we find out that the leaf blowers, which in our world are just leaf blowers, but since they don't have leaves in their world, I don't know what a leaf would be, but whatever a leaf is down there.
This kind of reminds me of like that short like no talking episode they had where SpongeBob was like trying to get rid of this one shell off his lawn and just like destroyed Squidward's lawn.
Yep. And I mean, like I said, since these episodes take place in different universes, it makes sense that he wouldn't have it in this universe. But I think it's funny because Patrick at first, when he opens the package, he doesn't have it. Like he has like a plant, and then later when it cuts, I mean, a lot of cuts to Patrick in this episode. Like Patrick was like the surprise factor in these episodes. Like when it came to cutting and stuff.
Patrick is always like the silent MVP of these episodes. He's always like super funny.
Even the ones he's not even in, he's somehow the MVP. Like, yeah, when it cuts back to SpongeBob, we say, "Oh, I thought you had the same leaf blower I did," and it just shows that he did anyways. Like, I don't know what happened there. Did he go steal somebody else's? Was that just like a fake? Was that fake? I don't know what happened there, but
dream.
Yeah, just go with it. They're having fun with it. There's actually this cool thing where SpongeBob, like you just see him like standing there, and he like another SpongeBob comes in and blows that SpongeBob and melts him. And he's just wearing socks. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Patrick sucks the wrapping off of SpongeBob's pineapple, cleaning his house. And SpongeBob's so happy that he made his day sparkly clean. I mean, not his day, his house sparkly clean.
I always like that because I always wondered like what the hell is that in SpongeBob's house? Like,
yeah.
But I mean, I get it's supposed to be like the pineapple lines, but like it just always looked weird to me.
Yeah. And then Of course, SpongeBob says, we have an improved Squidward's day. Let's do his house. And the second that SpongeBob says that, you're like, yeah, his day ain't getting improved. Like, he's not going to ruin his day right here. Like, I think, too, the funny thing about it, though, what kind of ruins nowadays SpongeBob is nowadays they, like, know that they're ruining his day and they don't care. Like, back then, they actually thought they actually, like...
Right. And also, it was, like, just, like, silly stuff. I feel like now it's, like, a little too much. Like to the point where you really feel bad for Squidward.
Yeah. So they suck, like, the big nose that he has on his house's windows. I think I don't know what the big nose is actually supposed to be on his house. I think it's just there for decoration.
I think it's just because like he has a big nose. I think the house looks like him.
So they suck his windows. Squidward opens the window, and the SpongeBob and Patrick tell him we're having fun with. We're playing with our new leaf blowers, and then Squidward. I want to get this quote right because it gets used later on in the episode. Squidward says, "Play with a leaf blower. That's the most childish thing I've ever heard of." I'm not gonna impersonate Squidward. I'm not gonna look stupid.
Yeah, and I think one of them says like, "But it's fun," which is what Squidward says later.
And then Squidward says, "How can you possibly have fun with other those oversized hair dryers?" And then Patrick's like this, and he sucks his window out like while Squidward's still outside. So he almost kills Squidward pretty much. Like,
I mean, that's obviously not how a window works, but it's just funny.
Yeah, and then they suck his door off. And then they're gonna do they were gonna clean Patrick's house, but the only thing they can really do is like suck that like antenna thing that he has over his house. That's the only
exactly.
thing. I think that's what makes it kind of funny. And then Squidward, digs a hole over to Patrick's house. He's steaming. I like how they reference it, because you typically see cartoon characters, get so mad they're steaming. I actually how they actually reference that he was steaming, which was kind of cool. I feel like, too, it was supposed to be he didn't see the actual steam coming off. He just, was the most figurative, but because he actually was steaming, it kind of made it cooler. And Squidward asked for stuff to be put back, and SpongeBob and Patrick think, well, we could just send it back to blow, and it's just gonna go right back on his house. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it just goes and just destroys his whole house.
Yeah. So that
Squidward isn't even mad. He's just depressed. He's like, this is it. I'm done.
I want to get this quote right, too, because it gets used in a second. He says, "This is the final straw. I am going to move so far away that I will be able to brag about it. I would rather carry out my waiststand, hike the, I think he says walk, but I think it's hike the nearest four-stand intersection and continue living to what I do now so I can, jump roll with it." It's about, I got it about right, but that's pretty much what he says. And then his television falls down, and the commercial says, that exact same thing. And it's kind of cool. I remember
at one point, it's four. You said Squidward said a four-way intersection. The guy says a three-way, and Squidward's four-way, and then the guy on the TV corrects himself and says four-way intersection.
Yeah. So I really kind of like that. It was and Patrick shuts it off, saying, "I hate this channel," and then he's like, "No," and then what a coincidence, the commercial continued too, right when he put it back on too. It's the guy could hear him.
Yeah, I know. I think that was a joke, and I thought that was funny.
And they're gonna move to Squid Ville. Let's just get it out of the way now, because this is where I ruin the episode forever for you. So we think Squid Ville is implying that it's possibly some type of concentration camp. Maybe not exactly, because it looks heavenly. Yeah, but only squids can go there, and
racist, they don't let sponges or starfish in there or anything.
Yeah, so yeah, kind of take with that what you will, but we'll just say it. But that's not what this episode really is about. So we wanted to, but we feel like that definitely needs to get talked about. And this is honestly, I told AJ this before we started recording this, and he lost it.
Yeah.
What are we? Because this was more your experience when I told you. What were you thinking right when I said that?
It was just a no way, but wait, oh shit, he's right.
Yeah.
It's only for squids. No one else is allowed.
And we see this place, and everyone, like I said, it's only for squids. everyone's kind of acting like Squidward. He bumps into somebody, and he's like, they're kind of like being Squid. If you see Squidward, you know they're kind of like being rude to each other, like acting the way Squidward would act. He goes into his house. He goes to go to bed, and actually, we should mention
like,
too.
Like every house looks like his.
Yep. We should say too. The only thing Squidward bought like as stuff, because all his stuff got destroyed. All he had was like an armchair, like not even the chair, like the arm of the chair and his clarinet. That was it. Like he didn't have anything else. And
I guess his TV got destroyed that he was listening to.
I guess it blew up. But probably too, if he's walking like in a four-way intersection, he probably didn't want to carry his TV with him. So,
right. On the TV, man, some TVs I might be willing to, drag.
Yeah, but then he gets a call. It's SpongeBob, and we don't really know what they're saying. They're kind of speaking in a cadence, but it's kind of one of those things where even though they're speaking in a cadence, we get the point that they're trying to say. They're pretty much trying to talk Squidward into moving back.
Yeah, like you think they're just like crying upset, and like they're like trying to communicate with them, and then after Squidward hangs up, they're like still talking like that. So I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Like oh, they're just like super crying. No, they're just talking gibberish.
Yeah. So
I like how Squidward can like still understand them.
Yeah. At first, it's because of that race thing. I thought it was because Squid moved into like that world, he couldn't understand them. But then we saw that they were still talking like that. So it was a funny little joke. I thought it was pretty funny. Because I want us to like break down like the next part, because the next part of the episode is like really kind of where the story starts. What do you think of like the first like opening half of this episode?
Squidward like he goes to the supermarket and it has like the exact kind of canned bread that he likes.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? What do you think of like the first half before that? Like everything that we just talked about.
Oh yeah, I like it. Just again, you feel bad for Squidward for his life got ruined, and then I feel like it'd be a little creepy just to live in a town where everyone's exactly like you and everything looks exactly the same.
And we talk about actually, I'll let you talk about it. Because they actually explore that in the storyline. Why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, this is like some like dystopian stuff where it's like everyone acts the same and does the same thing.
Yep.
And I like how, and I also think like like I know we were joking about the whole race thing. I feel like this was actually kind of like legit like a commentary on like society, how we're all doing like the same thing every day.
Yeah.
Just like it wears you down.
Yeah, like we see like
Squidward's like super happy at the beginning. He loves it, but just doing the exact same thing every day. It's just like
like he goes to the grocery store every day. Well, he takes his bike every day. Actually, that's one of them. And then he goes to the grocery store every day and gets like the canned bread that he likes. Canned bread though. Why the hell would you even want that anyways? But I would hate that. And then he goes and has like a dance recital that he likes and then there's like a clarinet trio that he plays in, which becomes like obviously whatever you would say for four people because he ends up becoming the fourth person. Quartet.
People come in as more people come in as time goes on.
Yep. And eventually he just kind of says like, I don't really feel like playing my clarinet. Like he's kind of had enough.
Yeah, we get like a big montage of like his everyday thing. Anyway, and it just every day like you see his face expression change a little bit. Like he's like smiling the whole time, and then like he's kind of just like plain faced, and then just like slowly see like bags under his eyes, and he's like frowning the whole time.
And I really like it.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably one of the best moments in the show, just because it's like it's one of those real moments,
And eventually, like, he says it like he even says this is a paradise, but it's too much paradise. I really like how they explored this because it really sucks that SpongeBob's so episodic because they could really utilize this in future episodes. But I get why, because this would kind of ruin what makes Squidward. But like it's kind of like wanted.
I like the idea of like if it's a paradise and like it's kind of boring.
Like he wanted to be away from SpongeBob and Patrick so much. Like he always talked about like how he would love it. It's like not having SpongeBob and Patrick kind of it doesn't like not having that aggravation in his life kind of ruins like his purpose kind of in a
Yeah.
sense. Um, I know I said we're not going to break this down so much because it's only SpongeBob, but this is the only episode that's really like that. Honestly, now that I talk about it, this might be one of my favorite episodes of all time. The more I
I think
talk
it's
about
one of my favorite. I think it's in my top 10 at least.
like you even hear some guy using the leaf blower, and he even says SpongeBob, like it's showing that he actually misses. I feel like he wouldn't admit it to himself, even like in this world. Maybe if he had stayed a little bit longer. But I think that was like showing the signs that he missed SpongeBob. And he goes and plays with the leaf blower, and he's having fun with it. He puts it up his shirt. He gets his nose sucked into it, and
I really staring at him. He gets like embarrassed.
Yep. And then he even starts to kind of like like I said, that opening scene we talked about where Squidward and Patrick and SpongeBob were having that back and forth talking about how the leaf blower thing. Squidward kind of goes in that SpongeBob blow and just like a husband and wife, they're having fun. I think then a guy walks over and he kind of has the same conversation with him. So I really like that. I kind of like how like Squidward went to the SpongeBob and Patrick role, and like someone that was in like his character kind of was talking down on him playing with a leaf blower.
Yeah.
Kind of shows like he, because maybe like the thing was supposed to know too. Like everybody has like lived in that utopia for so long, they think that's like normal life, and Squidward kind of is like the outsider in that type of situation.
Yeah, like SpongeBob and Patrick rubbed off on him.
Yeah. And it shows Squidward and like having fun with it. Like he sucks off like a couple of people's noses and eyes.
Want to rephrase that?
What do you mean?
You said he sucks off.
Well, I said he sucks off people's noses. You weren't paying attention.
Yeah. All right. Good point.
He sucks off people's. Well, he uses a leaf blower, I should say, to suck off people's noses and eyes. But I didn't say, I still didn't word it one. He just weren't paying attention. So, and then he puts like two eyes, and then two noses, like on them.
He puts it on wrong. Like the guy's like two noses on his for eyes and like eyes. Yeah.
And the guy that has like no eyes.
Squilliam in this episode.
Huh?
I'm surprised we didn't see Squilliam in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we met him yet. That's why.
Okay, right.
So, I don't know. There was definitely time to meet Squilliam. This should have been the time instead of later. But then the guy with the two noses says, "What are you looking at?" And the guy with the two eyes says, "Those." And you see Squidward just having fun. SpongeBob and Patrick come in. They're gonna try to apologize to Squidward. I understand why they didn't have Squidward because this is a bit of a spoiler. We don't really see them interact at all, really. I understand that because that's kind of giving away too much. And it's, even though this is episodic, like you don't want to kind of give that away. I just kind of wish we could have gotten it, but I feel like that would have been kind of cool just to kind of see Squidward and SpongeBob and Patrick like not at each other's throats for once.
Yeah. That reminds me of the episode where Squidward like wants to be alone, so he gets frozen. He goes to the future. Like he admits he misses SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yep.
When he gets back there, he's still angry at them and hates them.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah.
Kind of be like that. Like he misses them now, but as soon as he sees them again, he's gonna hate them.
I feel like too because they already did, and that episode came out first. So since they already did that joke, they probably didn't want to recycle the joke.
Right. So yes, Squidward's running around with the leaf blower, like terrorizing the town. Patrick like goes up to like the voice thing to let people into the town. And Patrick thinks it's like a drive-through.
Yeah. And they have a I'm sorry cake, and Patrick basically shoves it up his ass. They kind of revisit that joke of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie with the bag of wind, but instead, we'll talk about that when we review that movie. And he knocks out. He has bad breath from something they ate earlier, and it carries over.
I like the guards are like, all right, so should we get the nightsticks?
Yep.
So like they were gonna go out there and just beat the shit out of them.
And then I even like this is where the race.
I wish we got that alternate ending for the episode. The guards just come out and beat the shit out of SpongeBob Patrick.
Yeah, and we did get the the race thing where the guy would say, your kind's not allowed here. We got kind of that race thing again all over again. But Patrick knocks the guy out, and he knocks him onto the button that opens the door. So Patrick still thinks it's drive-through. He's like, "Oh, I guess we got to order inside." And we see Squid's terrorizing the town. They run by SpongeBob and Patrick, and basically they point out like, "Hey, all these guys look like Squidward." So the rest of the episodes, SpongeBob and Patrick trying to find Squidward. There was a guy that was wearing the exact same shirt as Squidward, but the only difference is he had like his more eyebrows and like a mustache. I even love it too because he says he's not Squidward, and Patrick's like, "Why are you Squidward now?" And like thinking like, okay, 2 seconds later, all of a sudden you're gonna be Squidward all of a sudden.
Yeah, that was funny. Again, Patrick is just like he's barely in these episodes, but he's so funny when he is.
Yeah, and SpongeBob and Patrick are like going around the row trying to find Squidward. Patrick asks a fire hydrant. A fire hydrant. That was awesome. Like,
yeah. Also, it's like, why is there a fire hydrant when they're underwater?
Yeah, and I like to like the fire hydrant doesn't answer. Patrick even says that's okay. Take your time. Like, wait. Yeah. Like,
that's funny.
I think Patrick would have just stood there forever if SpongeBob didn't come up to him. Like, that would have been kind of a funny episode. Just Patrick waiting for the fire hydrant to answer his question.
There should be like a 10-hour loop of that on YouTube where Patrick's staring there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, though, as all this is happening, like, we find out that everybody wanted basically the town just tells Squidward to leave. Like everyone, there's a list of complaints for him. I kind of think it's funny because I always thought like the joke was at the time like nothing was there, but I feel like because the writing's probably just so small we can't see it. But I used to think when I watched this as a kid, like the joke was there was nothing there. So Squidward even is kind of ranted about the town, and the police officer's like, FYI, you don't have to live here, you know. Like, Squidward's like about to bring ruin on this town, like, oh, this town's a grievance, and the guy's like, well, you don't have to live here, you can just leave.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're right, and he just like uses a reflower to like fly away.
Yeah,
and then SpongeBob and Patrick, they see Squidward flying away, and they're like, oh, that can't be Squidward, he's too happy.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And that's how the episode ends. Like, this episode, this episode's A-. Like, it's so good.
Definitely A-. It's a really good one. Like we said with the last episode, it's one of those episodes that like gets better as you're older.
Yeah. And I just made it dark for you now. Like, I really, like I said, it's exploring...
SpongeBob does racism and the issues with the society.
I really like to, like, Squidward. I mean, we could talk about that, but the main story, like, it really got to show, like, without Squidward, like, having this paradise, not being around SpongeBob and Patrick, and kind of like hating it in a way. And I thought that was kind of a cool, because that's the main story. So I thought they did that really well. Now we're on to No Free Rides, which came out March 7th, 2001, the day after. So if you were like a huge SpongeBob fan at the time, you had 2 days of SpongeBob to watch. So
yeah,
there you go.
I was again not even 1 year old yet, so
you weren't watching nothing at this time. Yeah, this episode starts off. There's occasional times where you hear like a French narrator. Later on, they call him Frenchie in the newer seasons. Which they could say that's even racist. Like, okay, yeah, it's a French narrator, and that's his name. Like, basically, SpongeBob's trying to go for his driver's license for like the 1000th time. I don't. The number changes how many times he's failed it. He's failed it a lot. SpongeBob's basically driving. He's not staying on the road. SpongeBob like had to pass this driving test, so he would have had to stay in boarding school like a whole another year. He ends up running over the narrator. Like you actually see the narrator like laying down on the ground, like he died or something. Like it was not died, but like really hurt. Like
it's like SpongeBob like hit him.
And it's really funny because SpongeBob's even like what happened, and they even talk about, oh, you just took out another pedestrian, and SpongeBob, is like, well, how much time do I got left? How much more minutes left of the test? And Mrs. Puff's trying to tell him like the test is over, but SpongeBob backs up, thinking, that's enough time. I can pass with no time. Hey, sometimes when you have no time, you have all the time in the world, I guess.
I like SpongeBob's no quit attitude. Even when he's already failed, he's like, nah, I can still pass.
Yeah.
Gotta and then never give up attitude.
He probably should have just quit because, he does really bad. He's knocking over traffic cones. He drives into a brick wall and he destroys the boat. And we find out how many points SpongeBob got, and he got 6. And SpongeBob's all happy.
Like, woo. Like, oh yeah, he's like, and how many do I need to pass? 6. Ooh, 100. What?
Like he freezes like in that position too, like that was like
a big meme a couple years ago. I remember that.
And SpongeBob got 6. I guess he could have done worse. I don't know. 6 points on a driving test. I mean, that's 6 more points. I would have thought he would have. I don't know. What did he get 6 points for to begin with? For his no quit attitude.
He knew how to start the car.
I guess that's something. I don't think he's ever gonna get as close as he did in the first season, like when he nearly passed by cheating.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Puff was like, oh, Skype.
Yeah, Skype's being Skype.
I can hear you. You're frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
What were you saying though? Can you repeat it? Now just Skype's being Skype again. Isn't Skype wonderful? I love it. I'm gonna press. See, the thing is, I don't want to edit this video because the RAM processor on my computer is so shit, but I might have to now. Gotta edit the video.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. Small interruption. I don't know if it was my laptop or his, but Skype sucks is the moral of the story.
I think it was yours because mine was fine. So Skype sucks. I don't think it's gonna change when I get a new laptop. I think it's still gonna suck anyways. So
right. So anyway, we'll continue where we left off. So SpongeBob crashes the boat. And we were talking about how, honestly, the best chance SpongeBob had of passing was when he cheated back in season 1.
Yeah, and you were saying something like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, this is kind of what happens when Skype crashes on us. It kind of.
Yeah, for you guys, this will be like a 2-second delay. For us, it was like half an hour.
Yeah, it sucked. We would have been done like a half hour ago.
Yeah.
So, SpongeBob's like acting wicked depressed, but he's kind of looking on the bright side, saying, well, at least I get to be in your class a whole another year. And we saw a little bit of it in season 1, but this was kind of the first real time they explored that Mrs. Puff didn't like SpongeBob.
Yeah, she liked his guts.
And this is kind of the first time they really explored that. So she is sweating and hates it. Since she's a pufferfist, they always have to get that joke where she puffs up. So SpongeBob hits the boat, and I
will say they kind of overuse that joke a little bit.
Yeah, well, it has to happen every episode she's in. But then I think there's this propeller thing that was connected to the boat, and it hits her and she puffs up. This is where one joke that we look at it now as an adult, where SpongeBob says to Mrs. Puff, "See you next Tuesday." And I'm not going to say what that joke reference is because you should know the joke. But, pretty much it's kind of one of those jokes I think that was probably before its time, I'm thinking anyways, because I think they have class every Tuesday, and that's what SpongeBob was saying. But, everyone kind of takes the joke differently now. And doesn't know that SpongeBob is a character. He would never say that to Mrs. Puff. But so I'm not taking that joke that way. So that's me being childish right there. So yeah, Mrs. Puff is kind of freaking out. So she has basically an ace in the hole, as she calls it, to get out of having SpongeBob there another year, and that's extra credits. SpongeBob's never heard of extra credit because I guess SpongeBob's such an A student. Or such an F student. He doesn't need extra credits.
Well, that's the thing. Remember in that one episode with Patrick in boating school, SpongeBob was like the star student. He was like the good noodle.
Yep.
So I guess that maybe it's that. I don't know.
But Mrs. Puff's even like kind of almost giving away that it's more for her. Because like she's like, I have a chance, but they're like, oh shit, like it's that terrible like thing they do in the kid shows where they almost fuck up giving away their plan, and they're like, well, I mean, you have a chance, like
yeah, and no one pays attention to that. Like, yeah, okay.
Like if that happened like in a Death Note or Breaking Bad, like that they would not let that slide. That would be
Right.
And the
imagine SpongeBob like Breaking Bad style.
I know, yeah, like it would be funny though if Walt was giving Hank those hints and Hank still didn't connect the dots. Like he just, but anyhow, so why don't you say what the extra credit was? It's the easiest extra credit you can ever have.
Honestly, I don't remember.
He has to write a 10-word sentence of what he learned in boating school, and Mrs. Puff like does 7 of the words for him, pretty much. Like,
oh yeah.
It's super easy, right? But of course,
she's like super excited, like telling him what to write, basically.
And he only needs like 3 more words, and SpongeBob, of course, because it's him, he can't make it easy. He's got to make everything so hard. Like, he's like freaking out. Well, at first he's using pencil and he has to keep going to sharpen it. So Mrs. Puff's like, okay, here's a pen. And then SpongeBob like writes something and is like, nah, I changed my like it's literally the easiest assignment you could ever write, and SpongeBob's making it like super hard. Like he's like freaking out. Like, I think too this assignment was more torture for Mrs. Puff than it was SpongeBob.
I don't know. She's like on the edge of her seat, like, please don't fuck this up somehow.
And he kind of did fuck it up because he didn't even write the last 3 words because you couldn't even like see it. So I think it was at the point where, so somehow SpongeBob fucked up the easiest extra credit you could ever have. Like,
I know, right? She was just like, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. Honestly, like how would you feel like if that literally was like all I had to do to pass college? Just write a 10-word sentence of what I learned in college.
I wish. As a college student, I wish.
Yeah, and SpongeBob had like the easiest extra credit, and he fucking made it like it was like writing like I don't know, like a 10-page research paper. Like,
but yeah. Anyway, SpongeBob gets like all emotional, like, "Oh boy, I passed," and Miss Puff's just happy to be rid of him.
I even love how SpongeBob like even brings it up too. Like, I don't really feel like I did anything, and Mrs. Puff's like, well, that's how extra credit's supposed to feel. Like, he basically didn't do anything. Like, so then he gets his license, which that kind of doesn't make any sense because why would she all of a sudden have this picture of his driver's license?
You know what? He probably was like had it on her, just like praying for the day would happen.
Maybe, yeah. So I guess she took like one of his pictures without him knowing about it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
And that might not even be a legal driver's license. That might be like a fake ID, actually. Now that I think
she was
about
just
it.
like, you know what, just whatever gets him out of the building.
And SpongeBob's all excited that there's a new driver, and this kind of starts to make Mrs. Puff worried, and she has like,
oh, he's gonna like kill everyone.
Like she has like not a flashback, but like she imagines what the world's gonna be with this license, and it's like he's brought like ruin to the world. He's like hit people at a birthday party. The whole town's on fire. He had like that news reporter fish, and Mrs. Puff's not really worried though because he doesn't have a boat to drive, and obviously the story continues, so he's going to get a boat at some point because I mean, this is pretty dumb for me to say, but like if the episode's continuing, like it's not like it's there's more to it. He had to get a boat to keep the story going. So Mrs. Puff's going home to her house, and SpongeBob's parents throw her like a surprise party and stuff for helping,
pass, and how everyone was like, man, we thought he would never pass, but hey, he did.
I even love too. It's like SpongeBob's dad. I think it's funny too. By the way, like Mrs. Puff was probably pissed too. Like when she came home, like it was probably the worst surprise party of her life because she thought she got rid of this guy like
Yeah, and he sent her.
forever.
By the way, this
Yeah,
was breaking and entering.
yeah. But not. I guess because it's a surprise party. I guess it's
Yeah,
okay.
but
But
none of them are like friends with her. They just broke into her house.
yeah, pretty much. Um, and I like the little guilt trip that SpongeBob's dad threw. Like, you never took the easy way out when Mrs. Puff did take the easy way out.
Yeah.
I love he's like he kisses her, Finn, I guess it'd be in this case. And he's like overly doing it, and the SpongeBob's mom's like, I think you made your point, deal. Like that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And they consider her like a
Yeah.
member of the.
Mr. SquarePants is a player.
Absolutely. And we find out that SpongeBob got a new boatmobile. He has a license plate that says, I am ready, but ready spelled wrong. There's no E. So I guess SpongeBob's dad can't spell ready. But yeah, that's how we knew it was a new boatmobile for him. So SpongeBob's so happy about it that he faints, and he like they had like this big surprise party cake. And SpongeBob lands into it, and he ends up hitting his head, and they leave. We find out he's gonna be driving, like in the next day. So Mrs. Puff has to like do something really quickly because if he's on the road, like she's probably gonna end up going to jail, pretty much.
Yeah. So so to avoid going to jail, her logical step is to break into his house and steal his license or steal his boat.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I like how like the ski mask she wears covers like her whole body.
Yeah, I find it kind of funny though, because the next scene, like, she literally didn't even need to do anything the next day because SpongeBob hit his head so hard. Like, Mrs. SpongeBob was like, "Yeah, you can't drive for a while." So she literally would have been alright for like another couple of weeks probably. Like,
Yeah.
I guess better than being safe than sorry. But SpongeBob goes to his boat that he calls Bodie. I wonder how long it took SpongeBob to come up with that name.
I know, right? Well, to be fair, I had he had a friend named Wormy, so
Yeah. Then he's happy he has a boat. I think it's supposed to be a stake shift with the way it's set up. But I don't know anything about cars, so what do you expect me to know about boats? But that's the vibe I was kind of getting. Yeah, and then she comes up. Mrs. Puff comes up, and she's driving away, but we see SpongeBob sleep on the boat. She's actually sitting on SpongeBob, so SpongeBob like freaks out. I like SpongeBob even says, "Oh my gosh, I know who you are," and we think like SpongeBob's gonna say that it's Mrs. Puff, but then he's like, "You're a boat thief or whatever," and we're like, "No shit." So,
yeah.
SpongeBob tries to pepper spray her, but he has it reversed, and he sprays himself.
Which is something you'd never think you would hear. SpongeBob pepper spraying someone.
Yep, and he does it to himself, and because he's blind, and Mrs. Puff kicks him out of the boat. I could laugh at this, but I have a feeling because I know it's me, I probably would do the same thing. I would go to pepper spray like whoever's robbing me or something, and have it reversed by accident.
And then they just kick you out of the moving vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that would happen to me. And then SpongeBob's on his bike, and he tries to. I don't think it's a bike. It's like a unicycle, more like they call it a bike.
Like the big long blue thing. I know what you're talking about.
And SpongeBob holds onto the windshield, and Mrs. Puff has to try to get rid of him, pretty much. So she drives into a bunch of giant clams, and they all like chop on him, basically eat him alive. But that's not enough to make him let go. And then she goes into cheese graters, which I actually kind of thought was smart because since SpongeBob's like a sponge, it's kind of like he's like a piece of cheese and stuff. So it actually works. And he's basically like it's just his hands and like there's one other part of him. Like he's basically dead at this point. Still not letting go.
Yeah. He's like, I got my window.
And then the thing that finally makes SpongeBob let go is educational television. He'd rather take the giant clams, he'd rather take the cheese graters, but educational television, that was too much. Like,
which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, that was a good joke. But
I do like the part where like she's like listening to the radio and like it's SpongeBob's face and he like horror movie style comes out and like tries to like grab her.
and I think that's why he. I mean, the joke was good, but I think he had a plan. I don't think he just let go because of educational television. I think he was planning on that, so that's why.
Which, you know what? I gotta respect SpongeBob. That's a pretty solid plan.
I know, yeah. I don't much like. Hold on, my computer's about to die. This video's turned very bad.
I know, right? I need to get up 800 times. Your phone, your computer's dying. Skype was being Skype. We're both tired. Just
I'm actually not tired. It's just I think it's more. I feel like once the Skype thing happened, I kind of just stopped giving a shit. But it's this video though is not as Red versus Blue video we made, so it's kind of like we can't really get any worse than that. So
right.
All right, so yeah, SpongeBob is beating the crap out of Mrs. Puff. We see the police are like watching, because they see like the vehicle's going out of control, and the vehicle flies into the air. We know they're gonna hit the police car at some point, and SpongeBob removes the ski mask. It was actually the only time SpongeBob like won a fight actually, because he always gets his ass kicked. He was actually kicking Mrs. Puff's ass, like.
Is it really something to be proud of? Wow, he beat up his teacher. Wow.
Yeah. Then yeah, when it's revealed that it's Mrs. Puff, like SpongeBob's mind gets blown. Like it shows like him come up like in like some like this hypnotist whirly circle thing, like his mind's been blown. Like it was kind of funny. And then the vehicle crashes into the police car, and the siren still works. And SpongeBob, we find out, didn't get arrested. You know, because SpongeBob really didn't do anything wrong actually this time.
Yeah, he's getting his car back. Or both.
So and Mrs. Puff basically stole his car and trashed a police car. So, and speeding probably, but I feel like that's the least thing she did wrong.
Yeah. Attempted murder.
And, yeah, because she could have killed the police.
Well, I'm saying she like nearly got SpongeBob killed like a million times.
But Mrs. Puff finally reveals, like, you know, SpongeBob has to give his license back. Like he really didn't pass his test, which that must have kind of killed her to have to say that. But you know, I feel like it was at the point where she had to say something because, you know, and then Mrs. Puff, we found out like someone was gonna take over a class, and then we find out that the warden's gonna let Mrs. Puff out early for free driving lessons. So SpongeBob basically now is gonna get free driving lessons out of this, and I actually kind of like this because I think Mrs. Puff like having to teach SpongeBob driving test lessons for free now.
It's like more torture than just going to jail.
Yeah, so I thought this episode was good. I gave it like a B-. It's not as good as the other three that we're gonna review.
I give it a C+. Yeah, I think it's like I think it's out of the four we're reviewing today, it's probably my least favorite.
Yeah, it's good though. I still think it's good, but
it's good. Just you know, like pretty average, I'd say.
More people remember it for that "See you next Tuesday" joke, which no one really find it.
That's really the best joke out of this. Then
that's kind of I don't really find that joke all that funny, anyways. But you know, because it's more of an acronym. It's not even how you spell. It's not even how you. They don't even spell it that way when you say it that way. So fuck you guys for thinking that. So I just always hated that joke. I never really have had to say it. So now we got I'm Your Biggest Fanatic, which is the last of this batch. Yeah, I like this one.
This one, I probably like this one more than Squid Ville.
I have a feeling I'm gonna probably disagree with you because, but I like it. But it's definitely my second favorite out of the batch. So this episode, there's like this big jellyfish convention. Yeah, that it takes place, which is kind of like, you know, it's a con. So there's all like jellyfish fanatics there, which goes into the title of the episode. We see like all of the big jellyfish like theme things, like the harpoon that killed like this big jellyfish. We see like the guy that got stunned by Big Lenny. And actually, I really like this because we see Big Lenny in the Operations Krabby Patty game. If you play like the jellyfish part of it, he comes out and you can like, I don't know if you remember the SpongeBob episode when they went into Sandy's rocket and you had like the guns that like would trap him in the nets. You can actually shoot him with the nets. So I think it's kind of cool that he wasn't even in the episode or anything like that really, but he's in the video game later. So I kind of think that's
he's
cool.
only in the episode for like 2 seconds. But I like how he's like the butt of the joke. Like Patrick's touching everything. The guards like stop touching stuff.
Yeah.
And, it goes over to him. With like the giant like thing. Like the giant like mark where he got stung, and he's like, now it is very painful. And Patrick's like touch, and he's like, ah.
Yeah, because he says it only hurts if you touch it. Yeah. So then we see Kevin, who's like, I guess the biggest like jellyfish like hunter. He's like the leader of like an elite. It's called the Jellyspotters, which is like this elite jellyfish hunter group. And SpongeBob's kind of like having like a fanboy moment. Like he's kind of shocked. I think it's kind of cool because this is kind of the way a lot of people would act if they saw like a big celebrity that they like idolize. So, and I really like it because Patrick thinks it's like really dumb. And then he kind of contradicts himself because you see like this guy named Lenny who's like dressed up like this jellyfish. It's never really said who he is. It's just someone that Patrick really likes. So he runs over, he's like, I have to touch you. And the guard's like chasing after Patrick. It's really quite funny. And this gets used at the end of the episode later as a joke. And then the Jellyspotters, which is Kevin, who's like a sea cucumber, which does exist. I actually kind of like it because Patrick makes a joke about it, calling him like a nerdy pickle. And because
I always thought he was a pickle as a kid.
And that's a joke, obviously, because pickles and cucumbers are like cousins somehow.
Yeah, it's kind of like the way like SpongeBob looks like a sponge, like like in a home, not like a sea sponge.
Yep. And they're doing like a Q&A segment. We see, and he's also with anchovies, the things that like invaded the Krusty Krab like back in like the first episode that wanted like food and stuff. And he's taking a Q&A, and SpongeBob doesn't really ask any questions. He just keeps saying, hi, Kevin. Really creepy. Really like go watch it. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
And then SpongeBob's like,
I'm sure someone can like edit this episode so SpongeBob's like a serial killer.
Probably, yeah. SpongeBob starts breathing really heavily, and he says, hi, Kevin. I'm your biggest fan. And he calls for security, and then he's like, no, I'll do anything for you. And he tells him to go jump off a building, and SpongeBob actually jumps off the building. And the butt of the joke for the rest of this joke is, and Kevin tells him to punch him himself in the face, and he does it, and he's like, well, doesn't that hurt you? And he's like, well, did you want it to hurt me? And he grabs like this glove that's like has like all this spikes and stuff. And Kevin just thinks this is hilarious that this guy, just because he's a big fan of him, is willing to do whatever he wants. So Kevin has this idea that he's going to take him jellyfishing just to see how many times he's going to get stunned, which is really mean. Like, if you think about it, this is
kind of an asshole.
Yeah, which I kind of like though, because it's kind of resembling real life, because you find out like the celebrities that you meet, the whole thing, never meet your heroes type of thing. They end up kind of being assholes in real life. So that's kind of what Kevin's portraying here. And they lie to SpongeBob though, saying that he can join the Jellyspotters, and SpongeBob is like such in shock by this. He has it shows like a doctor doing like the whole thing where they do clear like shocking you back to life if you're like about to die. And SpongeBob's like basically carrying them to the jellyfish field, and he's supposed to be like a sports car. Like he keeps all the jellyfish like in the trunk, which just is in the back of his pants, which is quite funny. And basically Kevin says to join he's given SpongeBob all these tasks, and first he says all you have to do is capture a jellyfish. a jellyfish just goes right into SpongeBob's net like 2 seconds after he says it, and that becomes a running joke for a bit. He keeps adding the number up, and the number of how many Kevin says keeps going into the jellyfish, and it ends up completely backfiring on Kevin. Like he gets stunned when SpongeBob's plan to get stunned, and that continues to happen throughout the rest of the first half of the episode. He tries to get like SpongeBob to get stunned each time, and it keeps completely backfiring, and Kevin just gets zapped. Like he tries to get like them to lick jellyfish off of his face, but SpongeBob sneezes and they go all over Kevin. So
yeah,
he gets
so basically
stunned.
the episode is Kevin is an asshole and tries to get SpongeBob hurt, but the jellyfish are like love SpongeBob for some reason and hate Kevin.
Yeah. So you see, like by the end, like Kevin got stunned like really bad, like all his body is like covered in stun marks or whatever. So I feel like at this point, like Kevin's like, okay, if the jellyfish aren't gonna do this, I basically have to do this myself. So he basically lies, saying that there's this queen jellyfish, and he has SpongeBob be bait. He has him like tied up, like he basically crucified. Actually, if you think about it, with the way he's
SpongeBob, he died. He died for your sins.
And he has this like queen jellyfish call that's basically calling him a loser, and I really like the joke because SpongeBob's like, because that's actually a running joke too. Kevin keeps calling him a loser. So he has the jellyfish call,
and I like he has like all these like nematodes like as like his posse who just like are like his hype men.
I really like. I think this is a running joke too. I feel like this is kind of like a bit of a continuity error. They always because 2 of them are like blue and 3 of them are like brown, and I feel like too they always fuck up like somehow, like they add an extra blue one or they add an extra brown one, and it's like one of those continuity things. If you keep watching the episode, you don't necessarily notice.
Yeah.
But I like the joke though where SpongeBob he uses the jellyfish call and he's like, "Hey, I've heard this call before," and Kevin's like, "I bet you have," because Kevin's called him that like 20 times in the episode. So they hide underneath a bush and they get stunned. Kevin still gets stunned by a jellyfish, even though Kevin's asking for a stin ointment, and that becomes important. And like a whole day's pass, and the queen jellyfish didn't show up, and then the queen jellyfish finally shows up, but
so we think.
Yeah, the bush goes away, and we see that Kevin's not there, but we see the stin ointment's there, and we as the audience know that Kevin's probably has something to do with this, because I don't think we necessarily know he's the queen jellyfish, because as we find out it's just a robot and they're controlling it, but we know Kevin has something to do with this.
Which I guess he just has something like this lying around.
I know, yeah. Well, I guess not lying around. It did. Well, I guess yeah. He made it. I don't. Yeah. Well, because we find out he has a history of probably doing this.
Yeah.
So the queen jellyfish goes after SpongeBob, and this is when it's revealed, even though he got SpongeBob only really, I don't really think he ever really stunned SpongeBob. He missed like every time. Like,
yeah.
He got him once good, but I feel like it was just to free him from crucifixion. I bet Jesus would have loved, if you believe in that anyways, Jesus would have loved that. This robotic jellyfish just coming and stinning Jesus out of nowhere when he's being crucified. Like,
wow. Yeah, that's something they leave out of the history books.
Yeah. And watch, I'm going to get a ton of hate from all these other religions now that I bring that up. So, but this is a SpongeBob review, so relax, everybody. Then, yes, Kevin and everybody else make fun of him, and SpongeBob's upset because like he's his biggest fan and he's treating him like shit. And this is actually one of the only times you actually feel bad for SpongeBob, because even though like this is the one time
he wrong, he was like being a nice guy the whole time.
Yeah, so and we find out Kevin has a history of doing this because SpongeBob even says, "I was your biggest fan." Kevin points, and we see like there's a cliff, and I guess Kevin, like, they're all down there on the cliff just hanging out. Like, I guess Kevin like caused them to be homeless, I guess, because they're such big fans of him. So that's what I'm saying. I think he has this lying around because he's probably done this to those people before.
Right.
We see the guy that always like breaks his leg, and he says my leg, like he's chilling down there. Uh, and yeah, they're making fun of SpongeBob, calling him a loser. Um, then we see a king jellyfish come up, and the king jellyfish thinks that the queen jellyfish is a real jellyfish and
Yeah,
wants to.
he's like, hey, yo, what's up?
Yeah, he wants to kiss her. So they went away, but then they run into a poster, and Kevin has like his own skin ointment brand, and the machine breaks, and the king jellyfish pretty much realizes that it's all a trick, and he knows who Kevin is. And he tries to skin everybody. I think
Which
he's
I think
mainly,
it's, like he's like known as a jellyfish hunter, so he's like Kevin, like my arch enemy.
yep. And I think he's mainly going for Kevin, but he's gonna go after anybody. And they run into like a cave, and he puts on like a football. The chicken jellyfish puts on like a football uniform. I almost said outfit. That just shows you right there how much I don't watch sports. To
And
try
and
to
he starts like tackling the cave to like get him to come out.
doesn't work.
Mm.
Then he stops. Kevin wants one of the anchovies to go out to check, and they all just push one of them out there, like one of those things where they just they volunteer for them, like, yeah, you're gonna die right now, like.
Yeah.
And he thinks we think he's gone, but then he gets stunned. I guess I guess this is a bit of a criticism. It really seems kind of strange that the king jellyfish's sting wouldn't hurt worse than Lenny's.
Oh yeah, but whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe anchovies are resistant. Who knows?
Yeah. So pretty much, we think everyone's doomed. They're asking Kevin for advice because since he's like the master jellyfish, but we find out Kevin's really not this expert jellyfish hunter. He was just
fraud, basically.
Yeah. So basically they're hopeless. I think though, if you kind of watch the episode, it's basically implied. I feel like they kind of hint at it because he keeps getting stunned by all the jellyfish, and he like SpongeBob's like seen as like more the know-it-all as the jellyfish and all that type of stuff. So pretty much nobody knows what to do. So SpongeBob just goes out there. He blows a bubble that looks like a pie, and the king jellyfish thinks it's a real pie and goes to go eat it. He was probably pissed when he found out that wasn't a real pie.
I know, right? It's Pops, and he's like, Kevin. Why do you think we never see Kevin after this episode? He gets murdered off screen.
Yeah. So they're all cheering, and Kevin's just
like, how'd you know? And SpongeBob's like, everybody loves pie.
Yeah, so it's like SpongeBob didn't even like have knowledge of jellyfish. Like, he just basically went on everyday knowledge to get rid of it. So, but Kevin still doesn't let him into the club because they didn't capture a queen jellyfish. And then even the anchovies at this point are just like, yeah, that's no. He's in the.
I like how they like off screen, like you hear Kevin scream, and then like SpongeBob, they put the crown on SpongeBob's head that Kevin was wearing, and SpongeBob was like, "Wow, I didn't know this was a crown." And Kevin just like it wasn't, like it was actually attached to his body. The anchovy just like pinned him down and ripped it off his head.
Yeah, so I guess it was like a tattoo or something. Like,
No, I think it was just a part of his body. They just ripped it off.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But we find out SpongeBob turned down the club because he realized that it's not about Kevin, it's about jellyfish. And he's telling this to Patrick. They're like back at the convention because I'm guessing this convention went on like a few days. And I like Patrick. He even says, SpongeBob, I'm glad you learned your lesson. Your obsession is unhealthy. And you see like Patrick's like kidnapped the jellyfish that he was going after like earlier in the episode. So I guess that, and the cops don't do anything about it. I guess the cop just like, I think the cop just gave up. Yeah, I think he just gave up at that point because he didn't want to follow around Patrick all day. So
yeah. So definitely a really good episode. I give an A-. It's my favorite out of these bunch.
Yeah, same. It's probably like I like the the Squid Ville episode a little bit more, but
Squid Ville's really good. I like this one a little bit more.
And yeah, that's the reviews of these batch of SpongeBob episodes. I don't know when the next one will be because these are fairly sporadic now at this point.
Yeah, we're trying to finish Breaking Bad and Death Note up. So we'll probably do some more after that.
Yeah, we'll try to do another one maybe fairly soon. But yeah, I just figured, with everything going on right now, we just do something fun. This is probably one of our worst videos, but it's not like we really care because it's
I mean,
like,
I think it was all right.
yeah, I feel like we
I
were doing
think
it.
most of it was due to like technical difficulty.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. We have yeah, nothing left to talk about. Is there anything you want to plug or promote?
Check out. No, not really.
I'm assuming you're gonna try to plug your channel. Be like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing
I
that.
haven't
Yeah.
uploaded on it in a while.
Yeah, just check out this channel. We're gonna try to finish the Breaking Bad and Death Note stuff. We're gonna do the Death Note stuff will be on the CM Brothers channel, so check that out. Then we're coming up to 400 videos. I always forget the number because but I'll know it more once we actually start doing the Death Note stuff. So and then check out the Wrestling 1444 channel for AJ's appearance on the 200th video and all that type of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.
See you later. Bye.